My experience with divine. When I was 14 years old in 1994, my parents were in the capital city in Sri Lanka, and I was alone with a maid in our village home. And those days there was war. My aunt who was taking care of me, but still it was very hard. So I needed to pay the school fee, but I felt very uncomfortable to ask my aunt because it was a very difficult time for everybody because of the war, even though my parents were able to send the money, but there was no way to send money. So it was not easy during the war. So I just prayed. That was the first time I said to God, God, if you can listen to me, then give me money. And I found the money in a drawer which was in the house. So that was a surprise for me that God hears because I never believed. I was praying, by the age of 10, I had my own Bible because I come from a Christian background, but I never knew that God can answer the prayers for myself. So it was the start of trusting God, the divine. So it went all the way until today. The trust in, the names have changed because at that time, as a Christian, I believed in that God the Father, but today I trust the universe, the nature. So the names have been changing, even Divine Mother. I really surrender to her. But still, the concept of trusting something, a, a person or something above me is still there. I don't know how. Still, what that, it's like a that divine who lives in me still lives. So that was the beginning of my journey of trusting the divine power within. It was at that time outside, but now I can really connect that divine power within me. Then when I was in Russia, I had so much difficulties with financial crisis, and during that time, I was provided, taken care of. So that really helped me to trust and live trusting. Then I was married to a very abusive person, and at that time, I didn't have a single friend to tell. Even I didn't know how to tell what was happening with my ex husband at that time to somebody outside. So that time, the person who became very close to me in my life was Mother Mary. She became the mother of my life, and I will kneel down front of her statue, and she will there are times I will get rose petal from her. So that was the sign I knew that she was listening to me. And my cry at that time, because I didn't know how to come out of it, but I was saying, let me die in his hands. That was the only prayer I made it to Mother Mary. But God, the Mother Mary, was so powerful. She delivered me from my abusive husband. Still, I am surprised of how it happened, and because it was not a easy task for me. There was so much death threats, and I myself was so dependent on my ex-husband, and I didn't have a world outside my ex-husband. So I didn't know how to come out and live as a single woman in this world. But she empowered me and made me strong and protected me, because there was 99% the death could have happened in that abusive marriage, but I was protected divinely. And I still remember before leaving my ex-husband, because it was so in as a Christian, as a Catholic, divorce was not accepted back then, and there was so much shame and guilt, because you can't, a woman can't leave the husband, was the message which was given to me from my birth, unless, you know, the man is having an affair and he leaves the wife, that is the only way the divorce happens. But even especially for family domestic violence, in my family nobody didn't take a divorce. So going into this state of getting divorced, I was scared because of the rejection from the family, from the church, from everybody, because Christianity was the only safe place I had at that moment. There were, all the friends are Christian, everything. The world was Christian world, and for me to stand in that world for something which we have not done it at that moment was very difficult for me. So one time I was there, a very old priest who used to be there whenever I and my ex-husband used to visit that place, and so much miracles happen in that place. And I was sitting and I said, okay, God, if you really want me to, it was around noon. And normally the father doesn't come. It was a lunchtime also. So he comes in the evening to that, where I was sitting. So I said, if you really want me to divorce, then let him come now. And he came, the priest came, and I was so surprised, because all the things I was doing is to knowing that it will never happen, but whatever impossible, God made it possible. So, and the priest said, that's good, you have to leave your ex-husband, your husband. At that time he was not ex. So I was surprised and I said, oh my God, what is this? I never thought a priest will say leave the husband. So that was a surprise. And at the same time, there was three of us, we were front of the Mother Mary statue and praying. And that was the first time I saw the presence of Our Lady. And it was so a miracle, honestly. I couldn't, the smell of the fragrant smell of Our Lady was present. So it really made me to make the journey from my ex-husband, and started my journey all by myself in a woman's shelter. It was hard. I was a medical doctor. I'm a medical doctor. I come from a very rich family. Living in a shelter was so difficult, but Mother Mary guided me. I still remember one morning, because for me at that time also, rosary, prayer, church, this was the only safe place I had in my life. And early morning 6 o'clock, I was at the when they were praying the rosary, I was on the back seat there in the church, and Mother Mary showed up, and she showed how she has struggled in her life as a teenage girl. She herself didn't know anything about marriage. She conceived. She went with that the man Joseph. She gave birth. She ran from there to save the child. Then the child whom she gave birth was murdered, and she was all through, she was there present, her difficulties, and she showed it like a, I don't know, movie or whatever. And that was the strength I got. And all the saints, all the, Catholic Church helped me, that I didn't have a single support where to turn to at that time. But all of their support, I was able to, from shelter, I moved to Montreal, started my life, got my divorce. I broke and broke and broke, but still something kept on rising me up. And that divine power within helped me to move on. Even the time, it was long before my marriage, I committed suicide. I took pills, and that night in the hospital, it was a pain of like it was. Felt like I was in hell. And that night, I made a choice that I will never do it again. So it was a very hard, even at that time, a nurse showed up and she said, I will never let you die. And it was a miracle because of the things I have taken. And when the test came out, it was perfectly fine, especially they were expecting the liver to be damaged, but nothing was damaged. And they have to take again and again tests to make sure that it is, and it was a miracle that I was saved. And there are so many times at the, not only with my ex-husband accidents, and I was saved again and again by this divine power to live this world. And having that divine power as my support helps me to move on in this life. And I'm grateful to share, not only financially, it is also safety, protection, love, that divine love, having that divine as a, a mother. Sometimes I go and lie down in the grass like a lying on in a womb of Mother Earth, and she still loves me. And the Father Sky, Mother Earth, everybody being together. Sometimes it's hard, and where I feel like I'm lost or I'm alone. And then I see I'm not alone. I have millions, the birds show up, they come for a visit, and everybody together, and it just helps me to move on in this world. So I'm so grateful to share my journey with you all. May the divine power which resides in all of us, may that divine power enable us, all of us. Thank you.